All right, everybody, and welcome to WOSFL Weekly. As you can see, it is not your usual host, Johnny Bailey. I actually don't even know what Johnny's doing tonight. I've not spoken to him since last week, and I've just forgot what he told me. So I'm delighted to be hosting the show for a wee change, and delighted to be joined by Pollock's Josh Gardner. Josh, how are you, mate?
I'm brilliant, mate. Johnny's not had good numbers recently, so me and you'll get the numbers up for
He
him.
boosted it up a bit. See, to be honest,
I
think last week's numbers were decent.
That best week was when you were on, mate.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, mate. It means a lot to me, you saying that.
He's in holiday mode, didn't he, for Christmas? He's not caring anymore. That's him in full scale holiday mode.
I know. I honestly cannot remember what he said he was doing. It's completely going out my head. I've been that busy, and I was at the soccer ball there, and then had to rush home, and then had my dinner, and it was busy. But look, we've got some cups, as we always seem to have. We've got the Scottish Communities Cup round 4, which with a good result in. We've got the round 5 for the South Region Challenge Cup, and we have what other cup we got? We've got the. Do we have this? I think that's the 2 cups we've got. So we'll quickly go over them because we get a couple of great results in the cups for our side. We'll start round 4 with the South Challenge Cup. St Rock's 2, Bonnyrigg 1. Tremendous result for the Rock. I mean, Bonnyrigg are absolutely flying in the Lowland League. They've fair kicked it on in the last 6 weeks to a month or so, but that's a great result for the Rock.
I'd agree. The thing is with Bonnyrigg as well, it's not like how sometimes if the top league teams come in, you think maybe it'll be a wee bit of a culture shock for them going to the ground and stuff like that. But Bonnyrigg's not exactly a palace, let's be honest. So it's not much a shock for them. I think the Rock have just turned up and done the job for them. And listen, fair play, Kendo's done it absolutely brilliant, I think, since he went in there. And I think obviously was it last year, they might have been a wee bit annoyed with the consistency, but he's right up there. And I think they'll probably push Irvine Meadow all the way in the league as well. To be honest, I think they'll be the nearest challengers, and then obviously they should be a team that should be looking to go as far as possible in these cups as well. If I'm being honest, because let's be honest, seeing the Rock with the support that they get would be brilliant to see them in a final or maybe a semi or whatever. But they've got to take great belief in that they can go all the way if they can go and turn it on against teams like Bonnyrigg, because they're not exactly a poor side. I know a few of the Bonnyrigg players have got a good team.
Well, we've got a wee comment for Craig McGee there saying that he's seen Bonnyrigg put an under-20 squad. No sure about that. I don't know, Craig. You might know better than us, but nevertheless, they're through to the next round of the cup against a top Lowland League side, and it's a tremendous result for them. And I think it's like you said, Kendo's done a great job there, and it's just taken a bit more time than maybe. Do you know what? I don't know if it's taking more time than he'd have liked when he came in. He's had a couple of seasons now, and it's been gradually picking up. And this season, like you said, I think they'll challenge the Meda for the title as well. They've added a bit of quality, and they've added a bit of experience as well in the team, and they're definitely looking to push on. But it's a tremendous result for them. We'll move on to the 5th round of the Challenge Cup. Kilbirnie 2, Cumbernauld 6, Muirkirk 3, Glencairn 2, and arguably the result of the day, unless Craig McGee comes in and says that Cali Braves played their under-20s. Vela Clyde 1, Cali Braves 0, and it's amazing, unbelievable result for. We'll start with that one, Vela Clyde. Getting a win and a clean sheet against Cali Braves. Excellent.
That's not a flick there though, Paul, because they've already beaten Cali Braves at Fullerton Park as well, to be honest with you, so it's not a flick. And I'm sure it was 1-0 the last time, if I remember right, as well. Obviously, I know Ricky, the Cali Braves manager, know quite a lot of their players, and they've got a right good side, a really good side, and played against them with WOSFL last year as well. And I'll be honest, they're a team that they don't blow you away. I wouldn't say they blow you away in terms of quality, but what I found with them, and even watching them, I don't know if you can remember last year, they went that sort of 10-game unbeaten run at the start of the Lowland League, and I think they only conceded 2 goals, and they're kind of that sort of team. They don't seem to concede a lot. And when we played them, I felt you had to work extremely hard even just to get a chance against them. So you need to be really clinical when you do get in. I've not seen it because obviously I've told you before we started. I've been stranded in Krakow, Warsaw.
It's been a tough day for you, mate, being stuck stuck all the places. Well, see something that
I think you on chances there. Managed to.
I think we're going to need to get you, Josh, to see if the internet's plugged in properly. You're getting breaking up a wee bit, but for me, Villa Clyde beating Calabrese.
No, mate, I'm full bad, mate.
Yeah, you full bad. Right, well, maybe it's my internet, but Cali Braves losing to Villa Clyde, and then you look at the Rock getting the result against Bonnyrigg as well, both on what we consider old school junior pitches, really heavy surface. Obviously, with the weather's been pretty poor the last couple of weeks. You'll find, I'd imagine, a lot of teams won't want to go and play teams like that at places that are traditional type junior grounds where it's no on the Astro and it's a bit bobbly and a bit bouncy, and sometimes you've just maybe players on the used to it and know what to dig in quite deep to get what they need to get at places like that. But that's a tremendous result. I actually missed out a couple of results as well. Cumnock beating Nielsen 3-0 at home, a regular kind of routine result there, and Renfrew losing 4-0 away to University of Stirling, which I think they'll be a wee bit disappointed with the margin of the defeat, even though they missed a penalty late on. It'll be a bit disappointing for them. We've got a comment from, where is it? I had seen it a wee second. For Craig McGee again. Another Premier League scalp for Muirkirk beating Glencairn 3-2. Muirkirk are really firing in all cylinders, which is quite worrying for me because we've got them in the Cup just after New Year.
They're a dangerous team, Muirkirk. To be honest, they score an awful lot in all of Muirkirk as well. It's not like they're no boring to watch. I'd say they're definitely value for money. You get in there and you certainly see a few goals for them. But listen, I think what's probably credit to Ross in that now is we're not really seeing these as big shocks anymore for Muirkirk, if that makes sense. Whereas this was maybe a season or two ago, you'd maybe be a wee bit, that's a huge shock. But see, now you're kind of having expecting Muirkirk to go and beat these sort of teams as well. They've got a right good side, and Ross has recruited extremely well over at Muirkirk. And obviously, I know people say it's in the middle of nowhere and all the rest of it, but I think that gets a wee bit of a bugbear for Ross. But no, full credit to them. And they obviously beat Talbot not that long ago as well. So it's incredible what he's done there. And it's definitely no work. There's a lot of hard work and graft that's going into that club now. And that's why you're seeing the continued success. And they're definitely a club in the up and a very dangerous opponent for whoever gets them next. Well,
we talk about Kendo taking a couple of years to build something at the Rock, and I think Ross is similar. He's built, that's 3 seasons I think he's been there now, and he's starting to build a really good side who some really impressive results, and again yesterday was one of them. But we're going to go on to league action now. So in the Premier League, we've got Shotts 0, Beath 2, Drumchapel 5, Talbot 3, Largs 3, Colwynnon 0, Pollock 3, Arthurlie 0, Troon 1, and Johnson Borough 2. Josh, I know you weren't there yesterday. Obviously, you had your travelling issues, but what were the boys saying yesterday? That was a really good result against an Arthurlie team who are in a good place right now, so you must be delighted with that.
I watched it. I watched the whole game today. I watched the first half this morning. I watched the second half later on, and I'll be honest with you, Paul, could have been more. Could have been way more, and I was really pleased for the boys because I think I said it in an interview I done after the Beef game last week, is we've been in quite a lot of winning positions. We've lost a lot of points for winning positions, and especially at home, we've been a wee bit nervy at times when we've been in the winning positions, and dangerous scoreline is 2-0 obviously. And I think what was pleasing to me is when I watched the second half today, we seem to be the team on the ascendancy and no one's getting pushed back. And listen, I'll be honest, like, I don't know if Port fans are on or whatever, but they might think that that's maybe a tactic by us that we are going to try and sit back. It isn't, but you know yourself, Paul, through playing the game, sometimes you just find yourself getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and before you know it, you can't get out and you're struggling to get a foothold in the game again. So I think it's vitally important. Like, the first 10 minutes each half are vitally important to put your stamp on the game and go forward, especially when you're in the 2-0 leads, because it's very easy to fall back into it and think you can just see it out. But very rarely in these leagues you do, because if you lose that early goal, you're struggling. But we seem to be this team in the ascendancy, and it should have been it could have been more, to be honest with you. So I'm delighted for them, and 2 weeks ago, before the Beef game and this game coming up, we did highlight them in-house as must-win games. And we've went and done that. Obviously, we've had the help of Carlo coming in and stuff like that, but there's loads of other good performers in there. Like, obviously, I know you dug up Jordan Scott a couple of weeks ago, and in fairness to him, I'm not putting any praise on you for that, but he's been brilliant, Jordan, the last few weeks. And John
I'm
Miller,
glad I could help Jordan, mate. Well done. I'm pleased for you.
So Jordan Miller stepped in, done really well since the skipper's been out. Carlo's obviously made a difference. Russell coming in's made a huge difference as well for his injury. McCann's been brilliant. The middle of the park with Layden and Jake, they've put in their best performances recently as well. And there's loads, and there's competition for places now in the team, which is what we've been needing. So I'm pleased. I'm really pleased for them. I was buzzing to hear that yesterday because I wasn't in a good place yesterday with all the delays. But when I seen that was happening, it gave me a wee lift, to be honest with you. So I was buzzing for them, and I'm really pleased. And hopefully we can go have a good Christmas break and come back and do well.
Mate, that's the thing, is you're talking about like Carlo and you're talking about Stuart McCann and Mark Russell being back, and obviously you're saying Jordan's been playing better at the back. It's starting to look like the team is starting to gel, and it's just taking time. And we're in a position as well. I know you've played more games than most of the teams about you, but another 2 or 3 wins and that top 8 is looking realistic instead of just being a kind of what looked like it wasn't going to happen for a wee while there. Now you're starting to pick up. So that must be something that's really pleasing for you, though.
But with the thing with that, Paul, that's where I think actually me and you spoke about it. We're not getting hammered. We don't seem to get hammered. That
never doing.
It's always like 1-0s, 2-1s either ways. But see if you look at a lot of the games, a lot of them we've been 1-0 up, 2-0 up. And for some reason or other, and it has been a problem, we have spoke about it. And I personally think for me I think we just need to be a wee bit more aggressive when we're in the lead rather than being a wee bit negative thinking. I think we can go forward, and I think all the top teams do that. Like, I know obviously Auckland took their foot off, seemed to have blew our lead yesterday, but up until that point, if Auckland got 2-0 goals ahead of you, you'd be kind of fearing for the worst that they're going to go 4, 5, 6. And that's the sort, I always think the good teams do that, is they don't rest on their laurels. They go, if they want to see a game out, they go and get the 3rd and the 4th. Albeit Auckland didn't do that yesterday, but usually that's what happens. So, listen, I think we'll keep pushing for it. We've got a decent draw in the Scottish as well, so it's been a good couple of weeks for us. So we just need to keep trying to improve, and hopefully we can keep the key players fit as well. That's the main thing as well, is try to keep some of the key players fit.
Definitely. Well, we'll move on to the Drumchapel United and Talbot game. The Drum, we've got Craig McGee said, horror show from the Talbot, take nothing away from Drumchapel. However, as bad of a performance that I've seen from the Talbot, not the way to end the year, losing a third of your goals on one game. I was actually really shocked at that. 3-0 up after 22 minutes. I never saw Alan McClucky's interview after the game, but they had put a wee quote on the Twitter, and it was basically saying it's the worst they've played. And congratulations to Hope and the Drum. They needed that because they've been having a bit of a sticky spell and things have been a bit more difficult from this season. But I was really surprised at that. I mean, like you said, Talbot are not a team that usually, when they go ahead like that, 2 or 3, particularly after 22 minutes, I can guarantee you that the Drum fans must have been going, oh no, here we go. This is going to be an absolute doing. Massive credit to go and score 5 goals in 70 minutes and turn it around. Great result for them.
It is incredible. Do you know what? I'm glad you said about hoping that there, because I know it has been tough for them and they're good guys at the Drum. So I was actually pleased to see them turn it around, because they deserve a wee bit, because it's been a struggle for them the last few months for one reason or another. The Talbot, you don't expect that. That's the old-fashioned cooking buster, that one, and that's especially when you see it at 3-0. You wouldn't even entertain a cash-out option on that one. And then it comes about, and listen, I'd love to have known what the guys in the Drums dressing room's team talk would have been, because would it have been a doing, like, listen, let's not make sure it gets out of hand here. It could have been one of them, or were they talking about it? Did they see positive signs in the first half that they could get a couple of goals back and make it nervy for them? Who knows? But I think they've maybe just set out, try to get the first goal. They've maybe got it early enough in the half. Then I think did the second one come pretty. The second one came close after 3-0.
So it's 3-2 at half time. 3-2 at half time.
that changes your full complexion at half time, because if you're 3-0 down or you're 3-2, you know think you can do it. But then what does the Talbot, what do they say about it in at half time as well? So it can be tough. But listen, the Talbot had I'm sure Alan said similar after the Muirkirk game, that was one of their worst performances as well. So the fact they've got them in a sort of close proximity to each other, that'll not be concerning for them, but it'll definitely be something they'll be speaking about in-house. And I think the Johnston Borough beating Troon and all, when you come off the park having blew a 3-0 lead, and then you see that Johnston Boroughs obviously went and beat Troon, you're kicking yourself a wee bit, because it can open up the gap a wee bit more, albeit they've still got games in hand, haven't they?
No. Well, I think that's maybe saved. It's maybe stopped them being as disappointed that the fact that Troon have dropped points, and it keeps the Talbot still in the same position where 2 points behind with 2 games in hand. But are we now at the stage where, and I've been pretty critical of Johnston Borough. I think that in the last couple of months they've been fortunate with having so many cups and getting results against teams who they've not been the best teams. They've been good teams for the Borough to play because they're teams that should be beaten. But now we're in a position where, and I'm maybe eating a bit of humble pie here, are we looking at the Borough and saying, do you know what, they actually might be title contenders because they're starting to pick up. They've got a good bit of form in the league. That's a great result yesterday going down to Troon. I heard it was a really good crowd at the game as well. Murdy's maybe getting his point across to the players, and they're starting to turn their corner and really motor on after a pretty sloppy start to the season, because that is a massive 3 points, not just for the fact that it helps them lift up in the league, but I think psychologically that's a massive 3 points for the Borough.
And he's starting to get a few of his players back. I seen Big Lafferty was playing yesterday as well, and I know when we beat them earlier on in the season, Lafferty wasn't playing, Rossiter wasn't playing, so they've obviously had their injuries to seek. But let's be honest, like, they've still got a right good squad of players no matter who they're putting on the pitch. So they'll not be happy with the start, but they've not dwelled on it. They've went and pushed on, which is good for them. And I think you could see a free, maybe Cumnock even squeezing in there, making that a good race for the title between a few of them, especially if they're doing well in cups. And it could go to the wire, that one, with a few teams, I think, to be honest.
You mentioned Cumnock, who I think are having a very, very good season. Again, another decent win yesterday against Nielsen, 3-0. Largs getting the win against Cowannon, 3-0 there. I don't think, Largs have dropped points in half of their games and sitting in third place. I think that shows how competitive the league is. I don't think you're going to get Hearts, what am I talking about? Largs or Cumnock probably going to be able to push on and win the league. I think Cumnock are probably in a better position with the games in hand. But it's nice to see the fact that you've got Troon going for it, Talbot going for it, Borough, if they can pick up 2 or 3 wins in the bounce, they're right back in the hunt for it. And I think Cumnock as well, they're probably not going to do it, but it's good to see 4 or 5 teams fighting out, because I know it's ultimately the top 8 that matters, but you're not going to tell me these teams, it's getting down to the wire, 4 or 5 games to go, and there's maybe only 3 or 4 points between the top 4 or 5. You're not going to tell me that these teams don't want to do everything they can to win the league.
No, listen, they want to go up as champions, Paul. That's exactly what they want to do. Even just, I think I seen a comment there for the boy Jack.
Yeah,
he's saying he was at the game. Kyle Lafferty was brilliant. Even the subs coming on were good as well. And Lafferty does make a huge difference at this level. Yep. If I'm being honest with you, I think you've seen that in the Scottish Cup final. I was at that, and I thought he grabbed that game with the scuff of the neck, to be honest with you, and got them over the line. So these guys, it's like everything else. They're key players for the Borough, and they need to keep them fit. With Cumnock, we had a sore one against them, to be honest with you. I felt we should have got something for the game. Albeit we maybe not had a lot of possession of the ball, but I think if you've seen the 2 goals in that game that they scored, like, we should have got something for that as well. Mm-hmm. So it's you want to see a title race, because what you don't want to see is a runaway loser, and then that top 8, you're just kind of looking at maybe the middle of the table to see who's going to go up and stuff like that as well, because I think you want a title race, and I think it'd be good to see that, and I think you'll get it. I really do think you'll get it. I think there'll be loads of twists and turns in amongst the way, like you've seen that yesterday with the Talbot dropping points. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like that every week, because the league's hard to predict sometimes, and like I don't think anybody would have probably predicted that we would have went and beat Arthurley 3-0 yesterday as well.
No, so definitely. It's going to be interesting. We're going to move on to the first division. It's a couple of interesting results in the first division. And see, to be honest, I've not had the chance to really talk much about the Gartcairn situation. I know Johnny's mentioned it and stuff, but it's not something I've actually spoken about. Gartcairn losing 2-0 to it's top of table Clash, losing 2-0 to Meda, which I was actually surprised it was only 2-0 based on recent results because Muirkirk
What have
absolutely
they
bad.
conceded in their 2 games before that? Something like, what was it? What have they conceded?
They don't concede 13 goals in a couple of games to Muirkirk themselves.
Aye, and then obviously they had a heavy one after that as well. So, aye, it's all about 3 points for Jamie, that, but maybe it's a case of the teams that Gartcairn team are getting better. Maybe the teams that obviously they brought a lot of their under-20s up, haven't they? So I don't know the full story at Gartcairn. You hear bits and bobs, don't you? You hear a lot of rumours, but that's the West, isn't it?
It's interesting with so the last what 5 games have been Benburb 4-1 against Gartcairn. The Rock beat them 2-0. Muirkirk beat them 6-2. Then Muirkirk beat them 7-1 and then 2-0 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's what was interesting to me was obviously McStay and Darren Barr leaving, and then every single player basically going up in the transfer list. After Alex McDowell leaving, it looks very much like there's money being pulled and they're having to get rid of the players who are on decent wages, and in their 20s were playing a couple of games. So it very much looks that case. I don't have any other insight on it, but Irvine Meadow, 13 games, 11 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat, 33 scored, 14 conceded. It's a really impressive season for them, and Jamie's got to be delighted with how they've turned it around in the last 16, 17 months since he's been in there.
It's been incredible what Jamie's done there. Obviously, the club deserves a bit of credit as well. They've backed him well. But you can have all the batting you want. You need to trust the guy that you're batting behind you. And they've obviously, he's signed really, really well. I like the signings that he's made. Speak to Jamie quite a bit as well. Jamie's got a clear plan of how he wants to do things. He's very articulate in how he does it. He's very organised. He knows exactly what he wants, knows what he's looking for. And he goes and signs according to that for me. And that's what I like about them. And I've not had the chance to speak to him or ask how the game went. I don't know if it's a case of they missed loads of chances. Did they not have the shooting boots on, or were Gartcairn better? I don't actually know. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, even people look back at it, people just want to see the Meda fans just want to see Meda win, and now they're top of the league. And they're looking really good for it as well, if I'm being honest with you. And I think
beating the Rock last week, I think that for the Meda, that might be a result that defines their season. I mean, I know it's really early. We're not even halfway through the season, and I'm throwing that out there. But if they had lost that, they'd be sitting on 31 points. The Rock would be sitting on 27 with 2 games in hand. So potentially the Rock could have overtaken them, and it's really tight at that point. 10 points between them, 2 games in hand for the Rock, which is obviously, if they win them, it's only 4 points. But I think psychologically, the Meda beating St. Roch's was a massive one for them last week.
And was it at St. Roch's, wasn't it?
It was, aye. That was at Jimmy McGregor Park.
That's a massive away win, isn't it? And I've got a question for you then. So all that's going on with Gartcairn, does Gartcairn still get in the top 8, or do they drop it completely?
Well, do you know, yesterday's thrown me a wee bit because we're talking about that. I don't know if that's an improvement on, like you said, it's an improvement on Gartcairn. So seeing Jordan Moore was playing, I'm wondering if
Camille was playing as well, I think.
Right, so there's a couple playing there who are obviously players who are top end of this division. If things, looking back at the 2 Muirkirk games, I'd have said if that's how it's going to be with their 20s almost, you're going to be lucky if Gartcairn pick up another 6-7 points in the season. I don't know if that's the case. I think probably no, but we're looking at
how many points do you think realistically they would need that would get you in the top 8 in that league?
So they're 9 points clear of Nielsen just now. They have played more games than everybody apart from Ardrossan. I would say to get promoted, they're sitting on 27, 15 games played. I would say to get promoted, they need 44 points, I'd say.
It's quite tough, isn't it?
I think they need 42 to 44 points to get promoted. And if things are looking like are going to continue with how they've looked recently, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I mean, what's your view on it?
Listen, I know a lot of people up at Gartcairn, but I can't see it, to be honest with you. I also think if somebody's looking for a striker, they could potentially they could lose Jordan Moore as well, and they might be in a situation where they need to accept the money. I don't know the full ins and outs, but I think it's something catastrophic also seems to have happened because they were in a right good position, probably an absolute shoe-in to get back up into the Premier League. And now you're having these conversations. It just shows you the West of Scotland's crazy, and it's value for money, because you would never have thought this a couple of weeks ago until I was at the Rock game they played in the Friday night. And they weren't bad. I just thought the Rock were quite decent that night, to be honest with you. And obviously I've seen McDowell.
We'll go on a wee sidebar just now then, right? This is not league related, but we're looking at Gartcairn, who potentially could have a really bad end to the season. Then you look at in the Premier League, St Cadoc's. Now I know Gartcairn are a bit older. They've probably been about, I don't know, 13, 14 years, maybe a wee bit less, maybe a wee touch more.
Well, I was there when it first started. I was in the under-17s coaching when it first started, so I ran about that.
Right, so they're established enough, but they're a new club. They don't have a massive fan base. And I have no issue with this. As some people might, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. People say, "Oh, they play in the cages."
Better on the fire here, I can sense it.
People say that they call them cage teams because you've got certain other teams who are newer that play. I think that's how it is. I actually quite like their park with the wee stand and stuff they've got. But saying that, and you look at on the other side, you've got St Cadoc's, who are an absolute free fall at the moment after, again, their money man has walked away and there's other issues behind the scenes. And I think if they kind of do something pretty drastic to fix it, once relegation comes back and they'll fall back down the leagues. Is this just something where just it happens where these teams are not really sustainable? I mean, you look at St Roch's. St Roch's are sustainable. I know they're a very historical club, but they've got a good fan base behind them.
I think the St Roch's as well, though, Paul, they do a lot for the community.
Oh, definitely.
So they do a lot to, like you see it all the time, they do the walking clubs and all that, and they do their fair share for everybody in that area. So I think that helps build the fan base as well.
Well, you even look at, I know they've won a few games recently, but you even look at Darvel, another team who had a massive cash injection. And this isn't new. I remember this happening to Ben Bird before. I remember it happening to Johnson Borough. I was part of a Mary Hill club that it happened to. I was part of a co-winning team that it happened to, where lots of money, you're up the top end and then you plummet down the divisions. I know this is not a unique thing or new thing, but I'm a bit concerned that this is what will happen to certain clubs like your Gartcairns and your St Cadoc's, who on the historical clubs, they don't have big fan bases. And then if money's taken away from them, do they ever come back to the levels that they're at just now? And it's, I don't know, what was anybody watching as well think about it? And I mean, if you've got any comments you want to put in, myself and Josh will talk about it. But what's your view on it, Josh?
I think we, obviously having known the guys at Gartcairn, first of all, like, I know I've seen a lot of the efforts that the guys have put in, like McDowell being included, you've got Peacock, Martin Peacock, and you've got Big Craig Armstrong. They try their hardest to do stuff. And what I think they've tried to do, albeit maybe no with great success, but I know it's been a bit of a bugbear for them, is they have tried to generate a better fan base. And that they have done quite a lot. Like they've had stuff up there. Like I was up there one night, Big Army was handing out iPads and all that. He was doing prizes, all sorts.
They had that 100 club as well, didn't they?
They had that as well. Like they do try and be inventive, but I think, if I'm being honest, I do think that's the hard bit to get. Because how do you do it? Like, look at clubs like Pollock, for example. Like Pollock have the fan base because they have the history that goes with it. So a lot of you know what it's like, it goes, and I think it takes a long time to build that up. But listen, I seen what Paul said, it's vanity projects. See, if I'm being honest with you, Paul, I can understand why you've said it, but I would disagree with that totally, purely for the fact is, when you're in the background of these things, they might put a fair bit of money into it, which is fair enough if they've got the money and that's what they want to do, but they could do much better things with their money. But I wouldn't say it's a vanity project, because they probably put themselves out there a lot of the time as well when you think about it. So they're probably putting themselves into situations that's maybe no painting them in a great light or whatever. I know Alec McDowell, I know Craig, I know Martin. They guys are severely committed guys, and it's not just then. You've got guys like Peter Royland, you've got wee Jim behind the scenes. They're working their backside off 24/7 up at that club, trying to generate every bit of money, sponsorship. It's not just these guys sitting around a table throwing money at it. Of course, they're batting it, but they're trying to do other things to do it. They're trying to get the community involved, and it's just no captured that side of it. But they've had loads of good moments throughout the years as well. And I wouldn't say it's a vanity project. Maybe I'm a wee bit biased because I know these guys, but I don't think it is. But I think they've tried to do something. They've tried to put themselves up there. They've tried to make it sustainable. They've tried to build the fan base, get the community involved, and it's maybe just not quite worked out. And now you're in a situation that when it maybe disperses and people leave that committee and people leave that board who were maybe putting a bit of money into it, you then see a big drop-off. And it's sad to see, because what you need to remember is that's 10 years of the guys' lives that they've been trying to build that club up. They've not just tried to do it overnight. It's not like they've tried to do that for the last 10 years, and they've had promotions and relegations, and they've maybe made mistakes along the way, maybe not done things right, but at the ultimate time, they've put themselves out in the line and they've tried their best, and that's all you can ask for. And it is probably unsustainable to expect the same 3 or 4 guys that are going to keep putting money into it every single season. It's not always going to work. And there was always going to probably come this point as well. And that's just the way it goes.
I think it is. And it's difficult because it's really hard for teams who they don't have the fan base. And like you said, they're trying to build it and involve the community. Well, St Cadoc's have got a different issue where they can't get into their community. I mean, they're having to play in Govan, and it's no conducive to building the club. But we'll see how it plays out.
Had a lot of kids there, Paul, the night we played them in the Scottish Cup. St Cadoc's had a good setup, a good turnout that night.
I just think you're not going to be able to get the youth clubs to get boys coming and girls coming all the time, and it's sad that way. But moving back on to a couple of other results, really good result for Rob Roy away to Benburb, 2-0 there. I think that Rob Roy are maybe starting to look a wee bit more like what you would expect from sitting in 7th place just now on 18 points. It's a really tough wee group they're in as well. You've got Darvel in 18, Neilson in 18, Kilburnley sitting in 17, Muirkirk with games in hand on 16, Vale Clyde with games in hand on 14. Benburb sitting on 12 points, 4 wins and 8 defeats in 12. What do you think about that? Because they've obviously had a couple of decent results in cups and stuff, but they're maybe not putting up enough in terms of points in the league. And Craig McGee's just said that Rob Roy picking up Truesdale has been massive for them, and I think Craig's a great player. I think he's particularly in that first division, he'll be a tremendous signing. But it's Benburb. Are they going to have enough to get themselves promoted? Because obviously that's been the complete aim, and that's why they've went for Gordon and Budgie, because I believe that Frank thought it was going to be good experience that was going to get them back up into the Premier League next year.
You would like to think so, but because of that wee group that they're in with the league, I wouldn't say it's a gimme. No, I think there's a bit of work to do in there. With Rob Roy, I think Rob Roy have got kind of everything there to sort of kick on properly and come through it and be sustainable. Got a good fan base. They've got a great pitch now. They've got a great setup where they train, where they play. They've obviously got a wee bit of backing. They've went and signed Truesdale. I was actually, as I say, I was at Gap Care in St Roch's. I was actually standing with Craig Truesdale more or less all the game, and he was saying it's a young side, but the boys are brilliant. He's really enjoying it up there, and he's made his mark. He's a top player, top guy as well, to be honest. And he's made his mark. If I'm being honest with you, he's come in straight away and made a difference. And I think they'll do pretty well. I think I'd be very surprised if Rob Roy are in the top 8. If I'm being totally honest, I'd be totally surprised if they're no. I think that would be a major failure for me if they weren't in there.
I would agree. I think that the biggest issue that Benburb probably have is we see Vale Clyde, what they did yesterday. Kilburney, I don't really know Kilburney. I think they're so hard and miss. I think Colin's a good manager. I think he's probably a good guy to have in there just now. But I think there's bigger issues at play with Kilburney and maybe a wee lack of...
He signed really well, though, Paul. He signed really well.
That's just where I was about to go with it, is there's been a lack of quality there in the last few years to get them up. But looking at Muirkirk, I mean, they're flying. Their game's a game in hand, 4 points ahead of them. Nielsen, who I think Nielsen are a team who can pick up points as well on the show. They can hurt teams. Darvel, whether they can maintain the great start they've had under Natural Novo as well. But that is quite interesting. Even you look above, you've got Thorneywood beating Whitlets 4-2. I think that Adam's done a good job there as well. They're another team who I'd be pretty confident they'll be able to get into that top 8, sitting with 19 points with 11 games played. Quite a few games in hand on teams about them. It's definitely a team who would be aiming to get themselves up.
I know a lot of the boys at Thorneywood as well. They've got a terrific squad, and Adam's done really well in there. Also with them, I think obviously their pitch might be a bit of a problem. Maybe I don't know how that's holding up, but I remember seeing the pitch against Ashfield and it wasn't looking great. I think they try to get the ball down a wee bit and play Thorneywood for what I gather. But they've got good players, good striker as well. So Whitlett's a strange one for me. They just can't seem to get it going, if I'm being honest with you. They just can't seem to get it moving. Obviously, is it Brian Reid that's went in there? So it's, I think, a matter of time before that maybe gets going as well. But they seem to be conceding a wee bit. And I think that could maybe come back to bite them. But I don't know. It's a great away win, though, because you need to go down there and do the business. But I think it suits them down there as well for Thorneywood.
With Whitlets as well, Craig's just saying that they've been well backed, which Johnny was really big on at the start of the season. He knows more about the Usher game than I do, but he was quite big on it.
In there, isn't he?
He is indeed, even on the radio and stuff, didn't he? And he was saying about how well they've been backed, and it seems like Brian Reid's again has been backed, but 1-14. It's no great. They're not going to go up, but maybe it's a longer term one where no relegation, so we'll look to go and push on for next season. We're going to move on to the second division. In the second division, Ashfield 1, Blantyre 7, Bonneton 3, Lesmahago 1, Coolside Athletic 2, Coolside Rangers 1, 3-5, Larkhall 0. Again, last week, obviously, it wasn't in the show. Threave getting that win against Bells Hill was absolutely massive. The win yesterday with Bells Hill not being in action in the league, that gets them 5 points clear. Bells Hill with a game in hand. I'm struggling to see past Threave. I appreciate you can all turn in a game or two and Bells Hill can be right back in it. But Threave are looking very, very strong this season.
Threave are obviously I've got a wee bit of experience playing in the South League when they were in it. They're a top side, Threave, a really top side, and they've again great setup at Threave. Have you ever been down there? Have you seen their setup?
Never been down there. No, never.
Really good, mate. Got a good wee social club bit, nice wee stand, grass pitches, brilliant. Looked after really, really well. And I think they've kind of got the pick of the bunch down in the south now as well. Definitely a club on the up, and I can see them maybe coming right through the divisions, if I'm being honest with you. They've got kind of the infrastructure there as well. They got a decent wee backing as well in terms of fans. I noticed that I actually seen, I'm sure that they've re-signed a couple of players for even next year, so what they'll get is continuity. You might not see a lot of their players moving on.
Aye.
And that's just from my experience down there, that players they tend to stay with their mates, so to speak, and if all their mates are at the one team and it's normally all the good players and they're all there, they tend not to stay. And I found that quite hard when I was down there trying to get maybe the better South players to come to Saints, and I kind of couldn't do it because they were maybe it was the old chestnut, like one of their pals is away there and the other three are going, so then you've lost out in 4. It's one of the ones. So, and Threave kind of seem to have the upper hand over us down there with that. So I'm no surprised because they have got a top side and a lot of good players in there, and obviously they've got a good links with Queen of the South as well, but they got a lot of loan players as well. So I think Threave will go on and win it, to be honest with you. That's my opinion.
I mean, you're 14 games into the season, 12 wins, 2 draws, 0 defeats. It's very, very impressive at any level, going that length of time without losing. What impresses me is they're scoring for fun. 53 goals scored and only 11 conceded. Again, I say it regularly. At this level, if you can go a goal a game conceding, you're in with a chance of winning things, and they're less than that, which is impressive. Jack's put on their park is like a bowling green, which I have heard, and they're building an Astro Park down there as well, just beside their pitch. They definitely seem to have the infrastructure, and it's, I suppose, me being back coaching's making it even harder for us to get down there. But I would really like to get down and see them because they seem to be doing the right things. An interesting one in the same division there is Coolside Athletic winning the Coolside Derby 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cracking result for them. Coolside Athletic are sitting 14 points, 14 played. Coolside Rangers, 14 points, 15 played. And the management team in at Coolside Rangers, who were previously Cali locals, they're maybe finding it a bit more difficult than they would like down there. But that's a great result for Athletic to get a first competitive win over what you would consider the bigger club in the area.
I think, firstly, touching on Coolside Rangers, is they've obviously went into that job when it's not been going well. Let's be honest, and that's that. When you get a job midway through the season, that's generally the way of it. That's just the way the cards are dealt at the time. So they got a wee lift at the start, which you normally get, and now they're maybe finding out where the real problems are, what they need to tackle, and what they need to do. And now they're no daft, and they'll do that. With Coolside Athletic, I actually spoke to Azza. He was rubbing it into me because I was starting in the airport and he wasn't, and all that. So he was not really get much time for him, but I'll give him a bit of it. He was he changed his setup yesterday. I think they tried to go more more defensive structure and try and do that, which is good to hear. As I think that's no normally his way. I think he's
it's good to see that Azza's coming round to my way. I think for a change, and look at the results you start getting.
You'll hate that. But listen, they've had a few challenging weeks at Coolside Athletic in terms of player availability. I know they had to call up a lot of their 20s the week before where they got a good result as well. And I think it was quite similar yesterday as well. So, pleasing for them. And I always like to get the management team will be happy there. And I always like to get a wee bit in at them that there's 75 of them that are coaching that team. So
I can't say it. We're the same at Yoker. We've got about 400 coaches.
A coach per player, aren't you? That's what
aye.
But no, I am really pleased for Coolside Athletic, but I think Coolside Rangers will turn that around, no bother. But it'll just take a wee bit of time.
They're historically obviously a really good club, and it's they've had a couple of good results as well. Obviously last week, I don't know, Johnny wasn't really sure at the time when I spoke to him. They had the 10-1 against Mabel, which was madness.
That was mad.
Aye, and the thing is, they beat Les Mexico last month in the league, and you're like, that's a really good result for them. And on Les Mexico losing another game, their second game of the season that they've lost in the league to Bonnet 3-1, I think that's a great result for Bonnet. And they're now sitting in third place, having played considerably more games than the teams about them, but they've got the points on board, they're picking up results. It's another one where Popey and Ian have probably taken a bit of time to get the way they want it, and they're now starting to look a bit more like, again, Johnny had said to me at the start of the season he thought they'd be one of the teams that'd be kind of further up there challenging. That was a really good result for them, and I wonder what's happening at Les Mexico, because this is basically the same team that Darrow had that finished fourth last year when they were at Lanark, sitting in 7th place, 5 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats. For me, it's going to be hard to be a team that challenges when you can't win more than half your games.
No, you're right. And listen, Darrow's no daft as well. He's been very successful. He'll know that. And I doubt he'll be happy with the run of results he's had, to be honest with you. He's been successful. He knows exactly what's required. So he'll definitely be looking at that. But I don't know what's been on there. I don't know if they've got injury concerns or whatever. But listen, we've all got injury concerns. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? But he would have been disappointed with that. But fair play to Popey down there with Bonnet. And he's obviously working hard at turning that around. He's got Mark Walker as his striker as well, who's a very dangerous striker. I actually really liked him. Don't know if you know him, PG. He was at Eglinton last year.
I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Good striker. So he's dangerous. Obviously, they've got the boy Chisholm as well. They've got a lot of good players, if I'm being honest. So I'm no surprised at that. And if they can maybe keep it a bit tight at the back, I think they've got to go and just keep trying to win games and hope everybody and hope that people slip up behind them that are trying to catch them. But fair play to them. They've turned it around and Popey's working hard at it, so good.
It's definitely taking a wee bit of time, but they're getting there. Finish up on this division with Ashfield having another heavy defeat, 7-1 at Blantyre. Blantyre obviously with the new management team, and thereafter Ross left. 7-1, that's a great start for them, but really a poor result for Ashfield.
Familiar ground for Andy, but going back to Stepford after
I know.
just leaving Easterhouse. But strange one, because I seen Ashfield actually went 1-0 up in that game. And then I think Blantyre went and scored 3 or 4 quite quickly before half time. So, listen, I know Peter really well and talk to him regular. I've not spoke to him this weekend after that. He might be on a bridge somewhere. I might need to go and contact him, try and bring him down off it. But he'll be really disappointed with that. And I don't know about you, Paul, but these type of defeats used to really drive me up the wall. To be honest with you, I hate getting hammered like that. There's ways to lose games, there's ways to do it, and getting scudded isn't it, to be honest with you.
Normally you would say, obviously Ashfield have had a really tough season. 3 wins out of 14, 11 defeats, 24 scored, 44 conceded. So that's not the first down they've had this season. I don't know, Peter. I've not seen Ashfield play in a couple of years. That's one of the ones where do you just go and try and consolidate, bring everybody in, get as tight as possible, and become a bit of a horrible team, hard to break down, and then you go and build on that when you start picking up points here and there. It's a hard one to see, because it can happen in the odd game, but it's reasonably regular that it's happening to them, or they're losing by a few goals anyway, so it's quite a tough one for them. But Andy, it was quite an interesting one for me. Obviously, he's not going to knock back going to Blantyre for Easterhouse. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I think I've said it many times, I think he's done a great job at Easterhouse. Obviously a bit tougher this season for them, but I'm wondering, is he going to take a few of the better players from Easterhouse and take them to Blantyre, and does that improve them? And I don't know.
Possibly, but I think getting in midway through the season, it gives him a chance to at least assess what's already there, and try and get them working there. But certainly one thing Blantyre will be under Andy is they'll be organised, because I played against his Easterhouse team quite a lot, and they were extremely organised, extremely well coached, especially out of possession. He clearly knows what he's doing, and I think it's a case that Andy will want a good fit, athletic team to be able to compete, and he wants them to run. Like I used to find that when we played them, they just wouldn't stop running. They'd be constant workhorses. And I think that's something that he'll demand out his side. But there'll certainly, if I'm being honest, there's certainly a few in his Easterhouse team that can definitely make the step up, definitely. And you know what it's like. It happens all the time, doesn't it? Players follow managers about sometimes, and that's just the way it goes. But I think they'll pick up. I seen Johnny Cookman got a hat-trick in that game as well. Now, Johnny's predominantly a holding midfielder, so I don't know if maybe I've not spoke to Johnny, so I don't know if he's maybe been moved position. I don't know if that's a tactical switch, because Johnny, he's no one for known for scoring a load of goals. Really good player, tidy on the ball, but I'll need to catch up with him to see if he's playing up front there or what he's doing.
Maybe we change. Moving on to the third division, Craigmark 2, Glasgow United 0. Perthshire 1, Port Glasgow 6, Lugar 1, Yoker 3, Finnart 1, the Ants 1, Glenville 1, Girvan 2, Knightswood 4, Kello 0. I'll just start on our game since obviously I was there yesterday. That was what was expected what I expected anyway going down to Lugar. The park was quite heavy, better than I thought it was going to be. I think the guys at Lugar did a really good job making sure it was on, considering the recent weather we've had. Park was really heavy. Lugar were quite robust in the way they played. They were quite effective at it as well. Actually, got to take my hat after them. They were quite good at it. Gave us a real tough game, 1-0 up at half time. And I'm not going to lie, we looked like we were struggling. I wasn't sure how the boys were going to turn it around at half time. We went in, spoke to them, told them it was a proper roll up the sleeves job. And they did. They rolled up the sleeves. They were brilliant second half. We got out, scored 3 goals. Scored. I think what was important was we scored the first goal quickly. We scored within 10 minutes of the second half starting, and that kind of put us on the front foot, and some of our younger players really, really turned it on the second half. We did really well to go and get the win, and it was a good battle. It was a good battle between ourselves and Lugar, and I could see that Lugar could go and take points off of people there. I know they're not having the greatest of seasons, but I think they beat the Port. I think the Port got 3 sent off against them. And they also, if memory serves me right,
They get two
they
championships in a row, which they weren't doing before.
they beat the Ants, which was an important one for them down there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be difficult.
What was your thinking just on obviously going away for the result? What did you join Yoker for? What was the reasons? How did that come about?
Well, the manager Dom, I was his assistant manager at the 20s at the Ants very, very briefly, just before lockdown at COVID. And then when I'd only been in for maybe a couple of weeks, and then we got the lockdown, and I ended up, because of work and stuff, I ended up not going back in. So Dom was in there, and Lee Wright, who was one of the coaches with me at Craig Mark, he's in there, and Ronnie McDonald's in there, who's a mate of mine. They were asking for somebody else to come in. Dom phoned me, asked me to get in, and as you've known, I've wanted to get back in for a wee while now.
Yeah.
So it was a good fit because it's 15 minutes from my house, and it's just been a good fit. I've been really impressed with it, and
how have you found it?
It's good, mate. It's been good. I've really enjoyed it. It's been good being back on the training pitch, and I've missed particularly. I like the tactical side of the game, and I like kind of that side of it, and I've missed talking and getting my points across to the players. And we had a great result against Knightswood, but I felt there were certain things that we hadn't done so well. And Dom's great; he just lets me go and speak to the players and put forward what I want to put forward to them. We changed a wee bit of stuff on our pressing against Glasgow United. Worked a treat, worked again yesterday. So no, it's just been good being back in. I've really enjoyed being on the pitch and just getting involved with the boys.
Good. It's good to see you back in as well, because obviously you've been itching to do it. I know you told me that. You've been itching to get back in, so it's good to see you back on the grass, and now you've got all the headache that everybody else is dealing with every week now, and you're back to it. And that's the mad bit. That's the bit you miss, innit?
I know it's strange.
Changing on a Saturday and the build up to it, the must win part of that. That's what everybody loves about it. I always say I think we're all a wee bit unhinged to be involved in it, because it's a roller coaster. Throughout the month, it's a roller coaster. Throughout the weeks, it's a roller coaster. But going back to the Luger game, so you've obviously come in 1-0 down. We just try to play a wee bit. Was that with the whole point? Was that why you said it's a roll the sleeves up job now? Or
I think we had been trying to play, and we created a few chances, but we weren't looking overly hungry to go on the end of them. We were getting into areas, but you know that way sometimes where players will be happy just to be in the area and no score, no really go and put themselves in that position. I felt that's what we were a bit like in the first half. Second half, completely changed. Back four were excellent. And we've got a couple, I'm not going to give too much away, we've got a couple of really good players in that team, a couple of young players who are really talented, and they just showed some good quality. And it was... That's what impressed us the most, was the grit and determination, because you know what it's like. I mean, I said to the boys at half time when I was talking to them, I was like, I have been down at Luger in the winter. I have been all these places in Wearshertons in a horrible weather, and it's such a battle, and they're right up for it. And you know what it's like. It's easy to know.
It's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable unless you win.
The weather's horrible. The pitch isn't great. You're freezing cold. But if you want to go and get promoted, then you've got to go and win these games.
Good. No, I think you've got a good squad of players there. Obviously, the coaching dynamic seems to be really good for what you tell me as well. Everybody seems to have their part to play in improving the players, and the manager seems to be quite happy to...
Dom's been really good. He's been really good.
So, no, good. And it's good to see you back in, but now I'll look out for the Yoker results and the odd wee video you send me here and there.
Moving on, top of the table, Craig Mark, my former club.
Oh, don't start naming former clubs. Come on, these teams.
Craig Mark, I've got the Port, I've got now at Yoker, the Ants are a former club. I've got a few in that division.
Is your boy, your son, though, at Glenvale, no?
No, my wee boy's at Renfrew Vic, so that's all right. We're all right. But Craig Mark, only one defeat in 13. They've been excellent this season. Really, really pleased for the guys down there, because they're a great club, a great community club, because there's nothing else there. I mean, you have to go buy a couple of Martians to get yourself into Craig Mark. But it's been great to see them doing well. And I actually think that's a decent enough result for Glasgow United. I know they've come away with no points, but last week we did give them a bit of going over. Could have been a couple more than the 4, and maybe
Is it
the
Tempson?
Temps is there. I was speaking to him.
Is
I
it
was
Jeff
speaking to him
Nicholl that as
on
well?
Friday. Aye, Temps and Nicola there. He's been really struggling with players, and he's having to been playing. He's been struggling with injuries for himself as he's been playing. But Craig Mark, absolutely tremendous job, and it's hard at this stage to see anybody who can knock them off the top of the pile. And you look at Knightswood 4-0 yesterday as well. It's a really good result against Kello, trying to keep a bit of pressure on them. Knightswood really impressed me when we played them a couple of weeks ago. I thought they were very good. Thought they were very good. We deserved our win against them. We were excellent that day. Even though Knightswood had most of the possession and most of the ball, they never really cut us open or hurt us. But Mick's got a good team there, and I think that it's going to be definitely interesting to see who can come out on top in that. But Craig Mark are quite clearly favourites right now.
Aye, definitely. Mick has done extremely well at Knightswood. We've actually got them in the last 16 of the Scottish Cup.
I saw that.
Very dangerous opponent for us. Obviously, I know them from my time, and they might not be well known to the Pollock fans and stuff like that, but they're a very dangerous team, and you know as well as me, they've got a lot of good players who have actually already played up the leagues.
Good experience, aye, definitely.
So they're they'll be a tough opposition, but fair play to Craig Mark, because let's be honest, like, it's been a tough period for them lately. So it's good. I like to see that. Obviously, they've went down, they've no sulked about it, they've rebuilt the club again, and now they're sitting pretty. So no, that it's always good to see that, because I don't like it when you see these clubs in total free fall all the time, and they're just getting hammered everywhere they go. So it's good to see a sort of breaking that momentum, basically. Now they're coming up the way. So no, fair play to them.
Last year was just a transition for them. They brought a lot of the boys back in that we had there, and they're too good to be in that division, to be honest. I think they're a higher up team than that. And Port Glasgow getting back to winning ways. They've had a wee bit of a sticky patch recently as well. 6-1 against Perthshire. I know Perthshire are having a real tough time yet just now, but that's a good win for them. And Girvan went down. That was my first game with Yoker. We beat them 3-0. Girvan getting a late win against Glenville that keeps them in the hunt to get into that top 8.
Dean's done
a really good job. Because you look at where they were when he took over, they'd have been a bottom 3 or 4 team at this level, and now they're a team pushing on to try and get into the top 8, and it's been a decent season for them. At the bottom end, the final game, the Ants and Fanart, 2 teams who...
And a bit of turmoil. It's not turmoil, is
no,
it?
The Ants are really struggling just now. Fanart, they're in a bit of a transition as well. Danny Simpson obviously walked away or left, who is now Easterhouse manager, I believe.
Oh, is it? Is that an exclusive? Has it been announced?
I don't know. It's what I heard. I might be talking nonsense, but it's what I'd heard. But Fanart, they're in a bit of transitional period just now as well, and they really are having a tough season. The Ants will be gutted, though. They were 1-up and lost a goal late on, and for what I heard, it wasn't a particularly good game to watch. But Monty, what I would say for the Ants is their committee are very loyal, and they allow you time. And I think that's what Monty needs, because I was a big supporter of him when he got the job. I think that he's a guy who could do a good job there, but it's not quite clicking for him just as yet.
Rome's no built in a day. It's sometimes, I think, we fall into these traps, I feel, where we need instant success all the time, and it doesn't always work out like that. And then people always think, oh, it's not working instantly, so it's never going to work at all. That's not the way it goes. Like, sometimes you need to go through a wee bit of hurt to get to the other end, to sort of sieve through it and try and get to the successful part. And some teams never get to that because they just get rid of managers or get rid of players before it gets to that point. So I don't know what's going on at Finna. Is Brian taking the team now then until they get a manager?
I think that Brian was taking the team yesterday, as far as I'm aware. But it's one of the ones. I think it's hard for Brian to let go as well if they're being
split in half.
It's kind of his club, you know what I mean? It's him and his old man have built Fanart, and it's kind of his club, so it's maybe hard for him to step back a touch as well. But again, I've got experience in my time at St Peter's against Fanart, and they were a really good competitor for us in that 4th division, and I was really pleased to see them up and stay up, to be honest. And again, they're going to have another year in the 3rd division next season anyway, so it is good to see them. And finally, moving on to not the 3rd division, moving on. I'm still on that. I'm not as good as Johnny is on the button. I don't know why that's happening. So there we go. Right. So Rossville 1, New Mains 1, Vale Leaving 3, Royal Albert 0, East Kilbride YM 5, Eglinton 0, Giffnock 1, St Peters 4. East Kilbride YM, that was a bit of a surprise for me, how comfortable a win that was against Eglinton. Eglinton obviously having a pretty solid season. I know the last couple of weeks might not have been quite what they were for them, but that's a really impressive result for EKYM, and they're starting to push themselves further up the table as well.
I think what you see me EKYM at the start, Paul, is they were getting used to the level a wee bit. Maybe wouldn't say they took it easy or thought it was going to be easy. I think it's just different. They've sussed it out and now they've started to kick on. But that's a really good 5-0 win against Eglinton because they don't concede a lot of goals, Eglinton, especially this season. In fact, even last season they didn't concede a lot. So fair play to them. And the big one at that, I always feel in the leagues when you were a few goals in front is make sure you get the clean sheet, because I always felt, maybe it was just my team at Rossfield because it was kamikaze with us, but we never got a lot of clean sheets and I always used to harp on about it, believe it or not. So getting the zeros, the most important bit there when you know the game's already wrapped up. So you need to get into the habit of not conceding goals and chances.
Aye, definitely, I'd agree. And you know my philosophy, I hate losing goals, to be honest. But we're now in a position as well. We're looking at there's only 3 points separating the top 7 teams in that league. I know.
Good title race in there.
I know. Well, you're looking at Killook and East Kilbride are both a point off the top with 3 games in hand on a couple of teams above them, and then East Kilbride, Irvine Vicks have got a couple of games in hand and the 2 above them as well. It's a very, very interesting league. I even think that Royal Albert, I know we're going to touch on them losing yesterday, which would have been a real disappointment. That was their first defeat of the season in the league, losing to Vale Leaving, who are now top of the league. But Royal Albert, they win a couple of games they've got in hand, and they're also right in there. So you're looking potentially anybody in the top 9 can win this league, which is madness considering 8 get promoted.
And to be fair, I actually watched Royal Albert against Forth last Friday. Royal Albert were really struggling with injuries, if I'm being honest with you. I know we all say we're struggling with injuries, but they took it to the extremes. They had, I think, 2 coaches on the bench. They had a trialist on the bench. I think that was it for their full bench, to be honest with you. They had boys no well, long-term injuries. They had a lot of key players out. And it was one of the pointless games. I think that competition they were playing in, I think it was the Strathclyde Cup. It was just a dead rubber basically, and they had to play it. They've then now went to the Vale Leaving where they've got the same issues, and it's maybe caught up with them because they've had it for a couple of weeks now, and it's caught up with them. And I did speak to Johnny, who's the assistant manager at Royal Albert, and Johnny doesn't mince his words. He just said it wasn't good enough and it was rubbish, basically. They need to do better. Wasn't happy with a lot of aspects of the game, and rightly so. But again, see with Royal Albert, that's their first actual defeat.
I know.
So it's like they don't lose many games at all. So I think the frustrating thing for them is their draws. The draws are killing them a wee bit.
Aye. 5 wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat. And you also look at, they really have an issue with scoring goals. 17 goals in 11 games for a team
they have an issue with scoring goals though, Paul, but don't have an issue with creating chances. So that's their issue there. They could, even the other night, they won last week. They won 5-0, but it could generally have been a lot more. They missed some amount. Johnny obviously sends me their game or chances or whatever. They do miss a lot of chances, but they've brought in Liam Coogans. I think you'll know.
Aye.
And
he's about the only guy at this level who's had quite a bit more clubs than me.
I think he's moved to that area now.
Aye, okay.
So I think that's how he's ended up there. So you would like to think, I think he's already put a few goals in for them already, so you'd like to think that the chances will get converted, but I know that's been a right bugbear for them. So, but again, it still doesn't matter on the league table. It still says you have to do half your games, so you need to start turning them into wins, which I think they will. And I think if they can win the games in hand, they're right in my shout, to be honest with you.
Definitely. St Peters beating Giffnock 4-1. JD and Neil and Gav going back to their old club at St Peters. It's a really good result for St Peters. They started to pick up recently, and I was a bit surprised at how things had been for them at late, because I thought they'd have a better start to the season. They're now starting to put some points together, and they're putting themselves in a position where I don't think they'll win the league. They might only be 3 points off the top, but I don't think they've got enough quality to win the league. But they're definitely in a position where they should be looking to try and get themselves promoted, which would be great for the club to have a Paisley team and get the Paisley Derby back next season against Glenvale. But for me, you're looking at Rossvale and New Mains, the other end of the table. Quite an interesting one. Rossvale, obviously your former club, so that's why I want to bring it up. It's been a really difficult period for them since you left, and they've only won 1 out of 14. The bonus for them is that Campbelltown are, I'm not going to lie, I don't mean this to be bad, because Campbelltown, when I went down there with my amateur team years ago, they were tremendous. I really liked going down there. They were great people who are trying their best, but I just don't see why the West brought Campbelltown in. It's such a journey. Their game got called off again yesterday. Played 11, lost 11, scored 6 goals, conceded 43. I'm wondering how much longer Campbelltown can maintain this as well.
And Paul Curlick travelled yesterday as well.
I know, and that's the Port went down there. Port went down there last week, and the game got abandoned during it. It's really no good.
Paul, similar happened to when we played them last year. We got a pitch inspection done in the morning of the game. The night before. Said it was fine. Remember, we got notification on the way up in the bus. Said it was fine. Got to the pitch, and I was like, "This isn't fine. This is this is anything but fine." It was like, the only best way I could describe it was like standing on a wet sponge. Your feet were just like falling into it.
Like marshland almost.
And then the referee actually came for Bells Hill. And I remember, like, we started the game, and I think we went 3-0 up really fast and at half time. And I thought, I think he would call this if we are in it, if this was 0-0, to be honest with you. Listen, I know that shouldn't have come into it, but I do think, like, and I remember thinking at the time, like, this is ridiculous. Like, why have we come all the way up here and this clearly isn't right? I don't think it would have get played if it was just a normal game in the West, to be honest with you. And then you put that, then opens up another can of worms, doesn't it? Because then you're thinking about the player safety aspect to it. And I'm with you. I don't think it's right. I hate to say it because the guys up there are brilliant. And see, when you do go, they look after you. They really do. They go to the wee pub in the corner after the game. They're nice people. Just the logistics of it just don't work. But on Rossvale and New Mains, like, New Mains seem to have picked up a lot recently, doing pretty well. They're doing better than what they were. Rossvale, obviously, it's a tough one for them, and it's obviously I've not kept too much tabs on it, but because a lot of the people that I had when I was there isn't there anymore. To be honest with you, I don't even know how many are still there. I think maybe one player. I think maybe my physio is there one night a week now. I don't actually know, but majority of them have all left, and it's a shame to see them down there. But obviously they brought Stephen Murray in now, who was at Cali Local 20s, and they were a successful 20s team. So I think he's brought a few of them in. So hopefully you see an upturn in their form there. But speaking to Stephen before, they definitely get their work cut out for them at Rossvale. So I don't think he walked into a good enough squad or good enough setup. So listen, even getting the draws good. And I seen on Twitter earlier on that an offside call seemed to do them at the win as well. So
maybe that is the signs of improvement already, that it's starting to pick up. But look, that is us for this week. We've gone through everything. Mate, I really appreciate you coming on. I hope we've done Johnny proud wherever he is. I don't actually, like I said,
I'm sure he'll let us know, mate. I'm sure he'll let us know.
I have no idea where he is. I don't know what's going on. He did tell me he couldn't do it, and he told me the reason, and my head's a cabbage. I can't remember it anymore. Just getting too old.
Because you've got too many jobs and teams and that.
Know, mate. A full-time job, a part-time job, a wife and 2 kids, and then football team. It's just too much for me, man. I'm absolute mincemeat. But look, mate, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody that's tuned in. Thanks to everybody that's put their comments in. A lot of the usual guys. Paul Smith did put a comment in earlier about the bank. We'd have more fans if we spoke about the Bankies. If the Bankies don't go up next season, there's a good chance we'll be talking about them in the West Prem or the West Lowland League, because we're maybe looking at bringing that into the setup. Whereas next year is something for Johnny to decide, though it's his show. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and I really want to say a massive thanks for all your support through the last year. 2025 was a bit of change for the show and the channel, bringing in extra shows. So it's been greatly appreciated to everybody, and I hope that you all have a lovely Christmas and a happy New Year when it comes. And Johnny will be back in the new year with the show, bigger and better as always. Josh, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
I've enjoyed it, mate, as always. And hopefully we find Johnny soon. That'd be good.
Johnny, wherever you are, we send our love. Thank you very much, everybody. Cheers. Take care. Have a good one.